Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending this webinar through the Kajenga Wellness Project. My name is Carice.
And my name is Stephanie.
And today we're going to be talking about the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on children and youth.
Okay, so in this presentation, we are going to talk about how the pandemic has impacted children's mental and physical health, how social media is impacting children and youth, how parents and guardians can help their children, and the signs and symptoms of anxiety and depression. So, since the start of the pandemic, people of all ages have had to adapt to sudden life changes to help prevent the spread of COVID-19. Children and adolescents often struggle with adapting to change, therefore, it is not surprising that the pandemic would impact their mental health. The current research and literature on mental health has discovered that children and youth are likely to experience fear and anxiety about themselves, siblings, friends, and family members contracting COVID-19. This is particularly relevant if the parent, guardian, or loved one is a frontline worker. Researchers have also noted that children and youth may also experience feelings of loneliness and isolation, loss of motivation and purpose, be emotionally reactive, inattentive, and experience signs and symptoms of anxiety and depression.
Regardless if your child or youth is attending school, in person or online, their physical health has likely been impacted due to the pandemic. Researchers have observed that since the start of the pandemic, children and youth have been less physically active, eating less favorable diets, gaining weight, and experiencing irregular sleep patterns. Know that children are home more often and are less physically active. They are more likely to gravitate to unhealthy meals and snacks, which can contribute to weight gain. Similarly, being less physically active, experiencing high level of stress, and not having a set daily routine can cause sleep disruptions. This year has been drastically different for us and our children. Realistically, we have all had to rely on technology a lot this year. There have been little research conducted on the long-term impact of children and youth utilizing technology during the pandemic. However, it has been observed that social media usage increases the likelihood of experiencing depression and anxiety in adults during the pandemic. Researchers believe that this finding can also be applied to adolescents. There has also been research conducted on news consumption and the impact it has on mental health. The research shows that watching the news may increase fear and anxiety in children and youth. Therefore, if you want to get the latest information on COVID-19, it is recommended that you do so when children are not in the room. Besides, using social media and watching the news during the pandemic, technology has also been used to stay connected with family and friends. For your children's mental health, it is important that they maintain connection with friends and family virtually.
Okay, so now that we've talked about how children and youth are impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, we're now going to talk about how you can help. One of the most important things you can do right now is listen to your child or youth. If they tell you how they are feeling or they are acting out, validate their feelings. Let them know it is okay to have these feelings and talk to them about how you can work through that emotion together. Children and youth can also be successful when they have routines and schedules put into place. Creating a routine around technology use, chores, homework, and exercise helps children and youth understand the expectations that you have for them. Research has also shown that children and youth benefit from spending quality time with family during the pandemic. Therefore, it's important to incorporate positive family activities into the daily or weekly schedule. As a parent or guardian in the household, it's also important to encourage and praise regular exercise so your children can stay healthy and prevent weight gain. If your child or youth has gained weight during the pandemic, do not point it out to them. This could cause them to be even more insecure and cause them to lose weight in an unhealthy way. And as mentioned earlier in this presentation, too much time on electronics and social media is not good for children and youth's physical and mental health. When children and youth are not doing schoolwork online or staying connected with family and friends, it would be beneficial to promote activities that do not involve technology. Above all else, you can help your children and youth by taking the time to practice self-care and self-compassion while demonstrating positive coping strategies. Remember that you are doing the best you can, and if you are feeling overwhelmed, then try connecting with other parents or friends. The pandemic has taken a toll on everyone's mental health. If you or your children are struggling, do not hesitate to reach out for support. There is no shame in asking for help. In our next few slides, we are going to be talking about anxiety and depression and how you or your children can exhibit these signs and symptoms during the pandemic.
Did you know that depression and anxiety are the most common mental disorders in children and youth, especially during this unpredictable time. So, what is anxiety? Well, it is a feeling of unease, such as worry or fear, that can be mild or severe, which can make children and adolescents irritable and angry. Let us look at some of the signs and symptoms of anxiety. For example, trouble sleeping, as well as physical symptoms like fatigue, headaches, or stomach aches, difficulty breathing, being afraid of school and other places where there are people, feeling dizzy, shaky, or sweaty, having strong negative feelings like fear or sadness, desire to avoid social situations, and nervous about making new friends. Therefore, anxiety becomes unhealthy when we perceive danger, when there is no threat present, or when it stops us from being able to do our regular day to day activities. For example, hanging out with friends and playing. Also, some anxiety can be helpful as it helps motivates us to prepare and protect ourselves during this time of pandemic, such as by hand washing, physical distancing, and following other advice from health experts. Let us talk about depression. Occasionally, being sad or feeling hopeless is a part of every children's and adolescent's life. Throughout our development in life, sadness is something that we all experience. But there is a difference between normal sadness and depression. When sad feelings become more intense, last a long time, or significantly impact day to day functioning, this may be depression. Some signs and symptoms of depression include difficulty concentrating, showing changes in energy, being tired or restless, not enjoying or wanting to do activities they would typically find fun, feeling of low self worth, thoughts of self harm and self harming behaviors, suicidal thoughts and behaviors. If you or your child are experiencing any of these signs or symptoms of anxiety and depression, please reach out for support.
And this concludes the end of our webinar. We hope you enjoyed listening and found the material beneficial. For more information on how the pandemic is impacting children and youth, we encourage you to watch the videos we have provided in the description of this webinar. We thank you for your time and hope that you stay safe.